Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome along to One Hub Racing. We are back ladies and gentlemen once again for round 4 of the P2 Championship. It's a really exciting championship, 5 points separating the top of the standings, but we're going to get going almost instantly because just take a look at this folks. It is a rainy Friday evening here in the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo E. Dino Ferrari, or otherwise known as Imola. But take a look at this. All the drivers are on the slick tyres. I'm going to quickly introduce my co-commentator for this evening. I'm joined alongside Matthew. Matthew, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It was a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to some fantastic racing action here.
Yeah, we're going to have some fantastic action, but it's not going to be the racing that's going to be the exciting thing for a moment. It's going to be the qualifying session here, because it looks like almost everybody is going to chance their arm on a set of the slicks compared to a set of the inters, because the track is raining. It's 100% raining and it's a wet quali. We have the TAS system open beside us. Thank you very much to the Tasman for getting us sorted with that. But it's going to be an interesting qualifying, and one of these where really anybody can take pole. Lukey, who wasn't meant to be here tonight, he is currently one of the few first guys to start a qualifying lap. Nick has started a lap. J. Luke started a lap. Schnixel is well on his lap. He's through the Varante Alta. That is apologies, the Varante Villeneuve. That is further along the circuit. He's of course purple in Sector 1. He's the first man to complete Sector 1, and Schnixel is looking to improve here in qualifying. Qualifying's not been his strength this season. He said it himself. He's looking to improve. His teammate Fatality looking to do the same. Cam, the only one, well, was going to go for a set of inters but hasn't left the garage. As you can just see, it's an absolute boat around this Imola circuit as Schnixel for Alfa Romeo. I suppose you could say they're technically an Italian team, but the team registered under a Swiss license, of course that of Peter Sauber, as he exits turn 14 and 15, the Varante Alta heading down towards the two Ravazzas of 17 and 18. Here we go. What's the lap going to be for Schnixel? This could be a pole lap if he can nail it up, because he's going to have the best conditions of anybody. He's the first to complete a lap here as he rounds turn 18 across the line. Schnixel for Alfa Romeo. We'll see what he can do across the line. It's a 23.6. We're going to quickly cut back. It is going to be Nick to cross the line next, or is it going to be Lukey? I think Lukey's come across a bit of a cropper on that qualifying lap. It's going to be Nick, one of the ones to cross the line next, or is it going to be J. Luke? It's going to be Okeke, actually. Nick beats him, then goes to the top as J. Luke with a 1:35. He has come a cropper on there somewhere. There goes Chris the second. Lukey in third. The lap's still going to be absolutely piling in here in the early parts of qualifying. ERT Larkin, Paul last week in Interlagos. Can he keep up that streak across the line here in Imola? 13 minutes to go, but the action's early on here in One Hub Racing P2. No, it's not going to be enough to take Paul. Last Lawrenson, 8.9 seconds off the pace. He's got to get another run in. J. Cole to the top for Red Bull. Current constructor standing leaders, increasing a gap hopefully in Imola.
Yes, hopefully, but I'm interested to see what Fatality does, because he would have got a monumental toll from his teammate who had just finished his lap in Schnixel. So I'm just keeping an eye on his time, but he's actually just invalidated as I say that, so never mind as you were. But yeah, Thomas Mack just crossed the line with a P9 performance, and I think this is going to be fast and furious session. I don't know if it's going to get any worse than this. If it stays like this, I think the drivers will be very happy, but there's always a chance it could get a little bit worse.
Purple 1 for JM. The Williams is improving. Current championship leader is JM. He's been real slow and steady as he has a bit of a slide out of Toza. Just as we say that, a couple of people serving engine penalties. We'll brush over quickly. It is Colin, and it is it's Colin Cam and the other Cam. I confused myself a lot there because there's two Cams. JM has invalidated his lap. J. Cole, purple sector 2. He was originally purple in sector 1, but it was beaten by JM. Here comes J. Cole running through turn 18. We'll see what he can do. 19 corners on this Imola circuit. Of course, 19. No, he's into the pits, so he's backed off on that lap for some reason. Lots of green sectors, no purple sectors. Can Larkin improve? No. 10 seconds off the pace, and I think we might already be done here because there's not a lot of guys improving. Nick has improved. Nick is purple in sector 1. Cancelled out everything I was just saying, but Nick has just gone purple in Sector 1. The Mercedes-man flying, won the Austrian Grand Prix. Can he win in Imola? Well, race is going to be a completely different ball game, but qualifying not going too badly for Nick as he's heading down towards the ferocious turn number 10, 11 of Acqua Minerale. Through 12, heading up towards the Variante Alta of 14 and 15, avoids the Aston Martin on the inside. Larkin, purple sector 1, but Nick is closer to the line, so we'll keep an eye with him. No purple in sector 2 for Nick, all purple sectors 2 and 3 belonging to J. Cole, but it's not going to be a purple sector for Nick at all there. He's gone way off the track as Larkin struggling as well, heading into the Acqua Minerale of 11, 12, 13, heading up towards the northerly part of the circuit. 14, 15 at the Variante Altas. You want to take a lot of curb there, but they're going to be really slippy due to the wet conditions as he's heading down towards 16, 17, 18, 17 Ravazza. And of course, 2 medium speed corners. You tend to have to hit third gear, but it's going to be a completely different ball game in these wet conditions. Can Larkin take another pole position for Red Bull Racing to extend their dominant qualifying performances? Here comes Larkin to the line. No, he's just behind his teammate, and it's a Red Bull front row lockout as it stands. Lars Lawrenson goes to 6th. JM is not improving in 7th. What about Waitsy? What can Waitsy do? Waitsy's a big wobble there as it's another purple sector 1 for JM, but he's into the pits, so JM is really struggling in the latter part of the lap. But it seems like the first few runs are done for now. Will these guys get out again?
It's going to be an interesting goal to see if they want to come out again, but I think at this stage you might as well, because it doesn't look too wet. It doesn't look like it's getting wetter. It's still raining, but there's not a lot of moisture holding in the air. It's quite clear in the distance, so you might get a little bit of dry running later on. It's really
that's a nasty crash there for Rage Hunter. He's completely lost it out of the Tamburello curve of turn 4, and he's crashed there. There's an improvement for Waitsy. Waitsy goes to 6th, and Matthew, I think you could be correct here. It's not getting any wetter.
It's nice to be correct every once in a while. Yeah, it's going to be tricky for now, but if they can get through these tricky parts, then perhaps they could have a good clean drive run later on in the session. But of course that's just all hypothetical really, isn't it, because we don't know what the weather's about to do. Sometimes I don't think the weather knows what it's about to do, especially in real life in the outside world right now. It's hot one minute, crazily cold the next. It's very strange, but I think J. Luke thinks the conditions are worth going for another lap.
Yeah, J. Luke thinks they're going for another one. J. Cole, we can see here, is doing another install lap. He's going to do 2 out laps, a trick we've seen over the years from the Mercedes-AMG Petronas team. Of course, Hamilton and Bottas a lot making moves there.
Yes, you see that very often. Sorry, excuse me, I dropped my control for a second. Hopefully it didn't cut my audio out there, but J. Luke has just gone quickest on the game through Sector 1, so that tells me that is not a legit Sector 1 through Taz, but nevertheless it tells me there's still some grip to find through there, so you never know, you might be able to pop it in the front row that you might not necessarily expect, but it's definitely looked like it's drying up just a little bit.
Yeah, it is. We can see J. Luke, he's improved by 7 seconds, which is not bad going, but still won't beat Paul. He's 8.9 seconds off it. He's improving in the middle sector. He's only about a 10th off in the middle sector to our purple sector, as Larkin has the purple sector 1, J. Cole 2 and 3. Nick not nabbing any of them as Lukey has just invalidated his current lap time. We'll keep an eye on J. Luke. We'll see where he'll go here. He'll jump himself up the order for sure. He'll beat a few of the guys. As where does he go? He goes to 3rd. Not a bad job at all by J. Luke. The AlphaTauri, it's a Red Bull powertrains 1, 2, 3 here. Can a Keke get up there to match them? We can see him in 13th. He's rounding the final corner of turn 18 into 19, improving by about a 2.8 I've seen. No, he's only going to stay 13th. That's unfortunate there, but the track is definitely improving, and we're definitely going to see some quicker lap times soon, as Nick is improving here, but he's had a right out bobble through the Variante Alta. The Mercedes been just short shifting to try get that Mercedes up to gear, and I feel he might have lost a bit too much time. Big time, Schnitzel was the biggest improver. I suppose Fatality, his teammate, is actually up on a run. No, not anymore. That's a mistake, possibly, through the Variante Tamburello, or just backed off on a lap, who really knows. Waits, he's going to go for another run. The McLaren has timed his runs to different schedules to everyone else, and he's pulling over to the left-hand side to let somebody through, although Chris is on an in-lap himself, so the Aston Martin will pull into the garage to get another run, and breathe. We can take a moment Well, it's going to be a very brief moment, because this man is back. Lars Larsen has gone purple in Sector 1, but I don't think he's going to even touch it in Sector 2. He's made a mistake somewhere. So we can breathe again. We can take a break as Lars Larsen... yeah, he's definitely backed off that lap. We'll keep an eye on JM, who is just off his time. He might be improving. As Larkin... Hold on a second, that was a monster run by Larkin. Look at the gap from pole now. It's now 20.9, and then Larkin is only 0.192 behind Red Bull in a world of its own. Does this remind you of anything? Red Bull, the quickest car by an absolute mile? Well, it's Oriel J. Cole and ERT Larkin proving to be the two dominant figures in this, but neither leads the championship. JM to the line is the one leading the championship. What's this improvement going to be for the Williams? Up onto the second row. It's fourth position for JM, 9/10 off the pole, but those two Red Bulls are in a world of their own at the minute at the top.
Yes, I generally can't think what you're referring to when you say Red Bulls in a world of their own at the front. It's never been seen before in real life, surely. This is he's got on in there into the Varandi Villeneuve. He was purple sector 1. He's completely lost it on entrance into 5 and 6, and that's where he possibly made the mistake on the last attempt. He was purple and then completely and utterly binned it, but the Haas is going to have a bit of an embarrassing trundle back to pit lane, because he was improving big time in that sector 1. It was purple, but it will not stand because of a quite elaborate spin. Yeah, Waitie's just had a moment of his own, completely unrelated in a separate part of the track, so it's still quite slippery out there, despite the fact that a few moments ago it looked like he was getting brighter. Perhaps that was the impetus to get out there, but right now the conditions seem to be getting slightly worse, if anything, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the final 3.5 minutes of this session.
Yeah, 3.5 minutes to go. We're going to see Nick on an outlap now. We see JM trundle back to the pits, and we will see a battle for pole between the two Red Bulls. It's going to be, hopefully, a titanic battle for pole. 3 minutes 14 to go. We can see J. Cole trundling out of the pit lane. We see Larkin just following him. We can go through some of the pre-race facts, of course. P2 in Brazil gave ERT Larkin his 400 100 racing point, so that was well done, Larkin. Congratulations, it was 400 points. He's at 403 or 409 or something, I think, now, but he was over the 400 mark. In terms of the 100 rankings, it is Larkin in 4th with a 91.8 rating, and then Colin in 34th.
I'm just trying to see while we go through that in a moment. We have Nick, who's just on another lap, and conditions again, they look like they've changed in the last 30 seconds or so since we last reported in, so this could be a late opportunity for Nick to steal back provisional pole position, but it is an absolute monumental task to find about a second to do that. But if there's any man out there that can do that, that is the guy in P3 at the moment in the Mercedes. And let's see what he can do for the final few stages of his lap.
Let's see what he can do. Nick, it's improvement in Sector 1. It's a 25.9. It's actually almost even with the man quickest. Green Sector 2 as well. It's going to be really difficult to beat one of those Red Bulls. They're in a world of their own here in the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo E.D. Ferrari. With 1 minute and 40 to go, you're watching 100 Racing P2. This is ERT Nick, rounding turn number 18, heading into 19, and the start-finish straight. What can the Mercedes do? Can he challenge the dominant Red Bulls in qualifying? He can beat one of them, and he'll give it a good go. It's an 8/10 improvement for Nick. Maybe there's another twist in this Imola tale for everybody else on the grid. Schnicksel starts his run. J. Cole with another word to say. He wants a dominant pole. He didn't quite get it into Largos when his teammate made a mistake. He wants to do it now as Nick is entering just behind him. Nick backed off. He's had his say. It won't be pole, but could it be a front row? J. Cole miles off in Sector 1, nowhere close for the Red Bull. What can Schnicksel do? No improvement. No improvements across the grid here for these few on run. Schnicksel, J. Luke, nothing to say. We're still waiting on Larkin to start his run. We're still waiting on JM to start his run. The Williams crossing the line now. We'll keep an eye on J. Cole's middle sector because it's where he's lacked today, actually. It's where Larkin is the quicker Red Bull. What can J. Cole do? Will it be a drastic improvement? No, nowhere near. He's miles off and he will come round. He'll get another bite of the cherry, I think, here. I don't think his lap is done because he's actually ahead of his teammate. So he could back the ball up and make sure they don't get a run real there. Charles Leclerc style in Ferrari, but here comes JM rounding through Toza. What can JM do? It is purple, sector 1 for the Williams. This would be an impressive pole if he could somehow find a way to beat dominant Red Bull Racing in towards turn 9 of Piratella, heading down towards the famous Acqua Minerale. Flat right, but it won't be just flat in these wet conditions. Judges it perfectly, does the Williams. This is a beautiful lap so far. Can he nail the middle sector? When everybody else was black on the TAS, he is lighting up purple. It is not purple in the middle sector. It is not even beating J. Cole. So this could be the struggle. He's going to get a beautiful slipstream from one of the AlphaTauris. It's Okeke in front who he's going to get the slipstream from. Okeke pulls to the left-hand side. AlphaTauri on home turf here in Imola. Can JM, the championship leader, possibly take pole? When there was a story talked about Red Bull versus Red Bull, can Williams try a shock? No, he's fallen off in the final sector and it will not be an improvement. Nick is improving. J. Cole is improving. Larkin is improving. Schnitzel is purple in the first sector. This is a right-out battle for pole position here in Imola, and it's going to be J. Cole who'll cross the line because they're all on the same set of track. They're all on the same section here. It's unbelievably close in terms of physical car position. Waitsy goes to 5th. Great job by the McLaren. He wasn't really anywhere in this session, but he's put his car up there when it matters. Here's J. Cole to extend the pole gap. Will it be an extension? Oh, it's a massive extension. 20.8. Can Nick beat it? No, Nick cannot beat it. What about Larkin? Larkin is down on his time. No pole today. No pole for Schnitzel. Pole for J. Cole. Here in Imola, Red Bull did end up getting the pole, but it was not as comfortable as they like. Oriel J. Cole starts on pole position for the P2 ERT Imola Grand Prix.
Yeah, that was quite an amazing session there towards the end. He was getting dry all the time, and I wouldn't have been surprised if anyone of the Nick or anyone across the line for that would have crossed the line, because they would have had a monumental tow as well. So, but I think if you had a tow at the start of the lap, it's definitely more beneficial than at the end. But every tow helps, and here are the the official qualifying results. I'm getting my words all confused because I'm so excited.
J. Cole starts on pole position for Red Bull Racing ahead of Nick, who lines up on the front row. JM in 3rd, ahead of Larkin 4th. Schnitzel 5th. Waitsy starts 6th, ahead of J. Luke 7th. Chris will start 8th in an Aston Martin battle that's been oh so close all season. They'll start 8th and 9th. Last Lawson will start 10th. Rage Hunter will start 11th, ahead of Thomas Mack, Fatality, Okeke, and then our engine penalty people. It is Cam Rules, Cam, and Colin Mason to round out the grid. The Welshman looking for another good performance after Interlagos. We'll take a quick second here, folks, to run you through our fantastic One Hub Racing sponsors.
Yes, our wonderful partners and sponsors here at One Hub Racing, which make our jobs a lot easier. The first sponsor we have is Next Level Racing, who sponsor the league by providing the prizes. And then we have Pure Sim Gear, who sponsor the league by providing a pair of their sim racing gloves to the driver with the most combined poles and the fastest laps. And our brand new sponsor for this season is Gamergoo, who sponsor the league by providing Gamergoo samples to trophy winners. And every time I read it out, I really want a trophy more and more. And our partners are Vespertine, we are partnered with Vespertine, who support our championship prizes, and ERT partner, the ERT Guy and Get Stuff Award and League trophies. And of course, our final partner is SimGrid. We are now powered by SimGrid. We run our seasons through their community platform, and all the standings and everything are in one place. It makes it easier for us to find them and a push when we need them for race info. And of course, we mentioned to do that, but thank you to the TAS Guy, which of course we can analyse all the drivers out there and see who's got excessive wear on the tyres, who's broken the car, and who may need a pit stop. And of course, thank you to all of those and the wonderful members of staff at One Hub who help us work it every week. And I will hand back to you for a very short start, as remember, no formation lap, so we're going to be right into the action in about 5 seconds time.
The 1980 Italian Grand Prix in Imola is the only Italian Grand Prix not to be held at Monza. The last time we held a race was season 19, but with 5 red lights are on. And once again, we go racing in Imola. What's the start like for the Red Bull? On pole position, it's not a bad run here on the medium compound of tyres. Heading into turn number 1, it is left, right, weaving for almost all the grid. J. Cole leads into the first corner, but JM and Waitsy have got past Nick. Great race start for the McLaren. As one of the Aston Martins, it's Chris, gone at the back. Larkin has been pushed onto the gravel by the Mercedes. Red Bull and Mercedes getting oh so close, not for the first time in Sector 1 in Imola, but heading into Tosa for the first time. Everybody looks to be cleanly through here on the opening lap. No real major spinners. Cam K is looking to make some moves on Rage Hunter, 2 of our engine penalty people, as Chris is really struggling here on the soft compound tyres. He might have picked up a bit of damage, and maybe the only fatality here. Speaking of fatality, he's trying to move up the inside of Chris, but he's not made it work. The Aston Martin defends it well, heading into Aqua Minerali for the first time. Really quick opening lap here in Imola. JM is 6 tenths off the lead, but JM, the current championship leader, would be more than welcome to holding this spot till the end of the race. Larkin pressuring Nick into a move after Nick decided Larkin, off the track you go on lap number 1. The Red Bull had a quick expedition onto Imola's gravel trap, but he got off it as quick as he got on it, and he's still hunting down for a 4th in this race. But a very quick opening lap, no real issues there, as it looks like Colin or Mason's your biggest gainer, up 6 spots to 11th on the hard compound tyres. Great start for Colin, great start for a load of guys, great start for Waitsy as well. We're going to battle into turn number 1 here. JM not quite close enough on the opening lap of the race. Really, overtakes are going to start when the DRS comes in. Never mind, it's going to be a swap between the eSports Wales drivers. Cam Rules around the outside of Colin or Mason. McLaren versus Mercedes. McLaren comes out on top on this occasion. McLaren, a car that typically runs well around Imola. They've the most wins in history, and of course Lando Norris picking up a couple of podiums here or there in the last 3 years. But JM really attacking J. Cole here. We're on lap 2. You are watching 100 Racing P2 tier.
Yes, you are. That's a frantic start, and you did well to keep up with all that. There was so much going on, and we had a couple of... We saw Chris going sideways in the background, and he had contact, I think, with OKK. They both needed to come in and change their front wing. So unfortunately for them, they are right at the back in the early stages. But usually you have time to ask me who I think is going to potentially win the race, and I would have said the man that's currently in P12 is on the perfect strategy on the hard, outside the top 10, didn't do a qualifying lap, and he could easily cut his way through the field. He has terrific pace on the soft tyre, which you will see later on in the race, providing nothing weird happens with the weather. It's supposed to be dry, but you never really know. But the penalties are coming in thick and fast now, and that is going to be key to who wins as well.
That's going to be key to who wins this one. But here comes Lars Lawrenson really outside of Lukey. 2 guys who battle for the win in Brazil. Lukey almost had a battle with the stewards. He completely missed his braking in towards the Volante Tamburello. Here comes Thomas Mack. It's a big lunge. One James Villeneuve will be proud of into his corner, but no, Lukey is not going to make that. Is not going to let that one happen, as there is the Alpine of Rage Hunter off at the back. Keke and Chris were 2 very early pitters as the train is forming, that famous Imola DRS train, which has come into Formula 1 really recently. But it's the soft tyres still the better choice, and it's still JM right on the back of J. Cole. Williams versus Red Bull, and you know, folks, this is a championship battle because it is JM leading and it's J. Cole only 5 points behind. A mistake by JM. He goes across the Volante Alta of 14 and 15, misses his brakes, and the Williamsman's picked up a 3-second time penalty for his doing, and no way that one's being removed by the stewards. Completely driver error. It could be very, very costly.
It certainly could be, but I'd be surprised if that's the last penalty of the... I mean, these guys are super quick and competitive, but the track limits here are very, very extreme. In fact, I'm sure I got one earlier for being on the racing line. I got 3 seconds for missing the corner. I know I didn't, so... That's
here comes Nick. Sorry to overcut you, Matthew, but Nick has just gone onto the podium ahead of Waitsy. He's got the DRS because Waitsy has none. And Nick is onto the podium now, the Mercedes-man, looking to take another podium this season in what will be a championship charge. He is 24 points in 4th position. We're halfway through the season here, folks. Don't forget that. It's a really short season. Only 8 races, in fact, so every move counts. But, yeah, penalties are an awful one around here. Penalties are an awful one, and Waitsy is going to lose more. It's not a track limits penalty, but he's made a mistake and he'll be penalised for it. He's fallen behind Schnitzel and Larkin now, and under pressure from J-Luke behind, and Waitsy just losing it on the route through Toza of turn 7. It's a difficult corner. It's the uphill left-hander. You'll know it well from driving. You'll know it well from facing the wall on the outside of it. It's a horrible corner if you get the traction down too early. But we're going to head on to lap number 5. It's all been relatively clean. We've had a few pit stops at the back between Okeke and Chris, and I believe Chris has actually made 2, and Chris here is almost looking to go a lap down, so that would be awful news on the opening lap as J-Luke and Waitsy side by side. Drew Rivazza, J-Luke up the inside from turn 18. That's a splendid overtake on AlphaTauri's home patch as Lawson is trying to get the both of them. Battle for the lead quickly. We're going to have to overcut it as JM has taken the lead. Lawson still trying to make another move. We're going to be almost 3 wide here, folks. Look at Lukey trying to get involved as well. Lukey Pigsend up the inside of Waitsy, and it's P8 for Luke, P9 for the McLaren. Lukey, great job there by the Aston Martin. He's got up to 8th and really capitalised. Thomas Mack is up the inside as well, and I think we seriously have to look, is there some damage for Waitsy? Yellow flag in front. It's the ERT Larkin who's gone. Larkin for Red Bull, and the safety car has been brought out there. Bit of chaos happening on lap number 5 of the ERT Imola Grand Prix. Larkin has no front wing. Waitsy losing spots, but it is now JM69, the championship leader, who leads the Imola Grand Prix.
Yes, this is a perfect opportunity for those on the soft tyres to ditch them and get onto the... At this point I would say the hard tyres, but I don't find the mediums that good around here personally, but some other drivers might. But I think it's probably a good shout to go to the hard tyres, and Nick is in a good position as well, having just fought through to get onto the final step of the podium if the race was to end right now. But we do have some pit stops coming up, I'm fairly certain of that.
Let's say, of course, you have to deserve 2 mandatory pit stops here in One Up Racing. If it's your first time watching, that is one of the rules. It is 2 mandatory pit stops, and of course there is engine wear as well. We had a few people serving penalties into the pits we go.
Yep, and that's the top. Well, that's pretty much everyone that hasn't stopped into the pits for their first mandatory stop, so that... let's see where everyone falls out, and that's not great for Fatality, who's got a 5-second penalty.
No, it's a second penalty of the race as well. He has 8 seconds now. There was only 3 guys who didn't come into the pits apart from Okeke and Chris will get back. And Okeke, they'll get back with the pack now, which is great to see. But Thomas Mack, Colin Mason and Cam all not taking an adventure into the pits, and JM is going to be your provisional race leader in 4th on the mediums, and it's a swap here because it was JM on the softs attacking. It's going to be J Cole on the softs attacking now, as everybody still has one more stop to make apart from Chris. Chris can go to the end. He's made his 2 mandatory pit stops already here on lap number 6.
Yes, he certainly can go to the end, and that is a big reason why Colin in P2 started outside the top 10. In fact, he was near the back. He's up to P2 now on the hard tyres. He's on the perfect strategy. The hard tyre is a very good tyre to be on around here. It's a fantastic race tyre. And if I was in Cameron P3 shoes, I possibly would have gone into pit the hards as well. But I can understand why he hasn't on the fresh medium tyres as well.
Yeah, of course, we've no Italian drivers on the grid. Normally, at least one Italian representative in Formula 1, but there's certainly no lack of teams. We've Ferrari, we've AlphaTauri, and then, of course, in real Formula 1, here's a fun fact. The Formula 1 CEO, Stefano Domenicali, was born in the local town of Imola. Of course, Imola has hosted 3 Grand Prix. It's only one of 2 to host more than 3 Grand Prix in, I suppose you could say, quotation marks, because it's just different names. Of course, Imola's hosted the San Marino Grand Prix, it's hosted the Italian Grand Prix, and then it's hosted the Formula 1 Emilia Romagna made in Italy something or other Grand Prix. I was going to write it down and attempt it, but I thought we had better things to do in our time here than list off that monstrosity. Of course, the Nürburgring has hosted a lot of races as well. We're not going to get into that one. We shall save that one for a possible German Grand Prix return. But Colin Mason was looking forward to this one after a good result in Brazil. He wasn't one of the men I seen interviewed, but it was Nick, his teammate, who said he always plans for safety cars when deciding his strategy. So either way, he'll be ready. I wonder, was he ready for this one, Matthew? He's gone for the hards. You seem to think it's the correct call. How's Nick looking to the end of the race?
Yeah, he's looking pretty good, and it's why I know it's a good strategy, because I was in a bit of a practice with him earlier, and he certainly said be prepared for safety cars early on and go to the hard tyres. So that's what I did, and it was working out quite well until my connection decided to turn itself off. It's like, nah, mate, you're not having a race today. But yeah, he's in a fantastic position as it stands, but of course there's a lot of laps still to go, and who knows what's about to happen around the corner. But he is on a good tyre, and he could put some softs on towards the end of this Grand Prix when everyone else may have heavy tyre wear. He can pick and choose pretty much when he pits from now until about lap 28 would probably be the latest you would see him. That might be a little too late considering, but there you go. He can definitely go late, is my point, as we are about to start racing again as we go on to lap 8 when the safety car will peel off into the pit lane. Thomas Mack is essentially the safety car now, and he can go whenever he likes. Of course, you can't go, stop, you can't do that, but he can go whenever he wants to go. Will he go late? Will he go early? We'll find out very shortly.
Yeah, we're going to find out here. Thomas Mack in Alpine. Alpine currently stand 7th in the constructor standings. It looks like we go racing here in Imola. He's gone really early, has Thomas Mack. Oh, it's a spin over Colin Mason. He's pinned it, unfortunately, to the final corner. We've seen Max Verstappen do that a few years ago, so if that makes you feel any better, Colin, you are not the only one. This is going to be a right scrap here. JM already he's picked one off his list. Well, that one has picked himself off the list. As here comes JM. He's going to try around the outside of Cam. No, J. Cole is looking to make a move as well, as we're single file, as Lukey's been pushed onto the curbs, and oh so slow as the McLarens catch up, and now Cam Rules and Waitsy are going to be side by side heading into the Verandi Villeneuve. It's a swap of position, and looks like Waitsy feels he does not have the pace. Yellow flag at the back. It is for Okeke. And one more thing to note is Larkin has now served his 2 mandatory pit stops. He is one of 3 to make 2 pit stops so far in this race. Here comes JM attacking Cam, heading towards the Piratella, the left-hander, which many moves don't get made in. Many moves don't get made into this one, but JM, is he gonna look for one in towards the Acqua Minerale? He would be a bit of a stretch for sure, as Cam picks up a 3-second time penalty. As Matthew said earlier, time penalties are common around this Imola circuit, as JM, bit of a wobble as Thomas Mack has made a mistake. He's reset the track, so he will possibly pick up a 5-second time penalty plus a licence point for that one, as it looks like if you lead the race here you're going to struggle. J. Cole down the inside of his championship rival. JM side by side through turn number 18, the 2 championship rivals. We're going to be side by side down the main straight here in Imola. Who's going to get the DRS? Well, none of them are going to get the DRS, because we are just after the safety car restart. Nip and tuck. The Ferrari is going to be involved in this one as well. Williams versus Red Bull. Who's going to break the later of the 2? J. Cole breaks the later of the 2. JM hangs it round the outside the back round. Unbelievable. This is fantastic stuff. And it looks like the 2 championship rivals have collided, just like many of them have over the years. A driver's title's never been decided in Imola. A driver's title might have just heated up in Imola this evening. 15th and 16th for the men who are running 1 and 2 provisionally.
Yes, that's never ideal championship rivals, but I don't think either of them did much wrong. I think that's just an unfortunate racing incident with the contact model they now have. I think that's how I saw it, but I'm sure their PRVs may prove different should either of them decide to say, hey stewards, can you have a look at this, because I don't know if that's acceptable or not, but from where I sit...
Oh, Waitsy, it's Waitsy, the next man to crumble, and he's made a mistake, I believe. Oh, he's right beached in the gravel there. He's completely lost it, and Waitsy's now going to drop down to 16th. The Keke is miles behind as well. He was caught out on lap 1, but it's Cam now in the lead of the race. Still 2 pit stops to make. Provisional lead of the race belongs to ERT Nick, the man 4th in the championship, looking to invite himself in. J-Luke loses a spot on the hard compound tyres to Cam Rules, who's looking to come back after some poor form. Cam Rules says he loves this track, he knows it like the back of his hand. He's got to try a beautiful switch on Lukey. Bit of a Mansell dummy, didn't quite work there. He's going to have to wait for a later stage in this one if he wants to try that. You cannot pull the wool over Lukey's eyes that easy. He's an experienced member of the One Hub Racing Circus. He's not going to be done over that easy. Fatality for Alfa Romeo is looking to try and make a move, but he's under big pressure from Rage Hunter through Toza.
Yes, he is under big pressure, but there's a lot of drivers under a lot of pressure today, especially the championship rivals who are now struggling to get back into
Oh
this.
no! Oh, J-Luke in the wall! And that is the AlphaTauri. That's both AlphaTauris gone off on track at the same point on the same lap. That is Keke gone through the Varanti Tamburello, and that is J-Luke gone through the Pirotella. The two homeboys, if you'd like to call them. Of course, this is AlphaTauri's test track, pretty much. This and, no, it's not Mugello. It's, this one, certainly, their location in Forenza is really close to this one, but the two AlphaTauris both having shockers. J-Luke down to 15th, the Keke down to 16th. There's a bit of a move here. It's Lukey getting past Thomas Mack. Thomas Mack is not quite making this one work, unfortunately. Cam Rules is going to get this one done as well. Swap for the lead. Nick has made a fairly straightforward pass, and Cam Rules is going to try and get the both of them. Cam Rules around the outside of the Aston Martin. He's going to swap them in, swap them out. No, they've actually made a bit of contact there. Cam Rules has hit the back. There's no damage for Cam Rules, thankfully, because it would have been an unfortunate incident if he was to get damaged there. But, right, wow, this is a close out scrap here around Imola. Brilliant race so far. Do you want to be a part of it, ladies and gentlemen? Well, feel free to join our Discord server and check out all our social channels. You could be in one of these brilliant Grand Prix. The championship rivals are back at it again. Here comes J. Cole. He's drawing up the inside of JM into the Pirotella. He's gone for a big send up the inside. Have they made contact? No, they have not. JM will still hold this one around the outside, but he's under major pressure from his championship rival J. Cole. This is not the battle for first anymore, folks. This is the battle for pride. This is the battle for 13th place, and this is the battle for who takes the momentum heading into the Hungarian Grand Prix. As we head through the Varanti Alta, it's where JM struggled all afternoon in qualifying in the race. J. Cole, he tried a lunge up the inside into 17 before. Is he going to do another one into the Ravazza? No, he does not. He sticks behind the Red Bull. He'll try to get the launch on the straight. If this was real Formula 1, you'd be saying, oh well, the Red Bull's clear past the Williams here, but that is the beautiful thing about equal cars. These guys are equal in a straight line. The two burns more, the ERS. Who gets the better slipstream? J. Cole gets the better slipstream. He's going to go around the outside of the Williams in towards turn number 1. They made contact here on lap number 9. No contact will be made at this point as J. Cole backs out. But just to cut back up the front, it is now Cam Rules past Lukey. It's a yellow flag through the Varanti Alta. It is Okeke who has gone off for the fourth time in this Grand Prix, actually. Really unfortunate there, as we see Cam Rules really struggling here. He's going to get into the pit soon rather than later.
I can certainly sympathise with Okeke because I've been where he is right now, and it doesn't feel great, but at the same time, every point at every position matters here in one hole. He could always go for fastest lap of the race later on, if indeed he's still running, which he should be, unless he's unable to keep it out of the barriers and the walls around here, which some of them are pretty close, but you've got to go a fair way off to get some of them. But there's always that opportunity. Fastest lap inside and outside the top 10, of course, but it is really heating up for the potential podium at the end of the race. Nick leads from Cam, who made a small error and perhaps
swallowed up by the Haas.
There you go. Yes.
Swallowed up by the Haas, and it looks like Larkin is going to make a bit of a move on Chris here in towards turn number 1. Larkin currently holds the fastest lap. Larkin won the last time we came to Imola here in the P2 tier, and Larkin, it's actually made it a lot more difficult for him than he would have liked, but he's got the job done around the outside. Beautiful move by the Red Bull on the better tyres. 6 lap all hards for the Red Bull, 10 lap all hards for the Aston Martin, and Chris is just going to sit behind us. There's somebody off the track. It's Fatality who's gone off the track for Alfa Romeo. That's it's not good there, as it's another yellow flag, and that is for poor Keke. Unfortunately, he's gone through the Aquamino Rally. Well, he might be having the best of race, but at least he's picking up a stamp book of all the corners he's spun at. It's almost won at every one, and well, that's probably the goal from. Have a bit of fun while you're having some misfortune, is a quote I seen at the Discord from somebody during the week, and I quite laughed at it. It's have a bit of fun while you have a bit of misfortune. No misfortune for Rage Hunter. Beautiful move up the inside into the Varanti Alta. He has got Thomas Mack there, and you know, will this be the real Alpine quote? Tell Thomas to defend like a lion and hold up this train. Look at Larkin round the outside of Fatality. Goes on to the Italian coloured rumble strip, and now it's going to be Renault power versus Ferrari power down the main straight. It's going to be Alfa Romeo on the back of the Alpine. Fatality versus Thomas Mack. Schnitzel has got past Cam, so one Alfa Romeo making moves, the other's not going to be able to make a move here, and this is really Thomas Mack being a wingman. There's car on the wall, 2 cars on the wall in fact. It's Chris and it is Larkin. What's going on there, Matthew?
They were side by side, and then one just seemed to squeeze a little bit too much onto the grass, and they're both around and in the barrier. So that's going to need some cleaning up by the stewards later on. I think that's slightly more than a racing incident. As Colin has come in for some soft tyres, and he's now flying. He's the fastest man out there, so he would get a point for that, despite finishing outside the points here in one hub. You do get fastest lap point outside the top 10 as well as inside it. But back at the front, you've got Nick, seems to be in a little bit of control, approaching Okeke, who's about to be lapped, and I was there earlier myself. It doesn't feel good, but at least he's still going, and I just want to reach out and give him a bit of a hug at his next pit stop.
Well, there's a bit of emotional support for Okeke. We're always looking after our drivers and not telling them to complete scrapbooks like whatever that other Irish guy was talking about. But Fatality is looking for a move on Thomas Mack. He's still not got past the cork in the fine Italian bottle. He has, he has now, because Thomas Mack's in the pits, and JM is looking to attack back. So J. Cole has made his second pit stop. JM hasn't. JM currently leads the championship and is currently going for 8th spot here in the Italian Grand Prix. He might be waiting for another safety car. Big lunge by the Williams. He's got it stopped in time as well, to be fair to him. That's a pretty dandy move for the Williams man, as Cam holding on strong in 4th, under pressure from Cam in 5th. So this is the commentator's nightmare coming up, as me and Matthew have described it. It is Cam versus Cam, as it's Colin or Mason past Thomas Mack. Oh, that's in the pits. But Colin, I have to say, I'm having a look at the task system to my left-hand side. He's flying. Colin is on a move.
Yes, he's definitely flying, and I knew he would do, because I saw he's got amazing pace earlier, but I think
Cam numero dos has gone off for McLaren. He's made a bit of a mistake through Aquaman, but he's a second and a half behind Cam now, but under a bit of pressure from Lukey, so the McLaren's got to watch that. You don't want to make too many mistakes, but a mistake is really easy to make around Imola.
Yes, as you've seen, a lot of drivers are making small errors, which could be quantified a lot if they make a small error next to someone, as we've just seen between the two cars earlier on. But you mentioned Thomas Mack was in the pit lane a moment or so ago. I noticed he got a 5-second time penalty. He was speeding in the pit lane as he went in, so that's not gone well for him. He's down in P14, but he still has one stop to make, so he will definitely serve 5 seconds, and that could definitely hinder him a lot more later on in the race, especially if this yellow flag in Sector 1 becomes a full safety car, which it's okay again. He's probably, maybe he's got some rear damage, which is why the car keeps stepping out like that.
He's right front wing damage. His end plate is completely gone now, is the problem there. His end plate is completely gone, so he's going to be struggling.
Yes, that's always an issue, especially around this track.
Cam Roll's gone off. Cam Rolls has gone off there. I was having a look at KK's damage, but Cam Rolls has completely gone off there, entering the Aquaman Rally. Not quite sure what happened, but Cam Rolls has gone, and that's really unfortunate for him. This race just takes a twist every moment.
Yes, you never really know where we're meant to look. If you look at one driver, someone behind them's having an incident, and you miss another overtaking manoeuvre. But at the moment, it's good for Nick to be out in control of this race right now, because if there's a safety car, which has already been one, if there's another one, he would have the perfect opportunity to come in and take a free pit stop. I probably wouldn't want to at this stage, but the option will always be there. As you said earlier, he likes to prepare and assume there's going to be a safety car, so he's always ready when that eventuality happens. But he is slightly increasing his gap between Lawson, he's right behind him, and third place, which is Snixel, who's on the 11-lap-old mediums, which will be coming to the end of their usefulness in a few laps or so, perhaps lap 24, and then we'll see whether he wants to brave it out and put 8 lap on for the softs. We'll find that out shortly, but Lukey in P4 is having a great race for someone who wasn't supposed to be here at all. He's in P4, which is a great place to be, but not as good as P3.
Something's happened to J. Luke, or else he's let Larkin through, because that gap was not under a second, and now Larkin's ahead. But JM is still pressing onto the back of the other Alpine of Rage Hunter. He's looking to get through, just like he got through on Thomas Mack. But quieting down for the first time here in Imola on lap number 18 of 32, and anything can still happen. It's Nick leading the race in P1 ahead of Lance Lawson in second. Lance took the win in Brazil. Nick took the win in Austria. So two really quick drivers. JM is, as we said, on the attack of Rage Hunter, and he's just clawing into that DRS. It's a very good track historically for Mercedes. They wrapped up their record-breaking 7th consecutive Constructors' title here in 2020 in real Formula 1. They're looking on course for a win here in the P2 tier tonight. The most successful team, of course, in One Hub Racing are the Mercedes crew. As Akeke, unfortunately, is he's well behind now. He made another pit stop. He is 55 seconds behind. But I suppose if it makes Akeke feel any better, I suppose he has that hug from Nick. Or not from Nick, apologies, from Matthew. As there is somebody else gone off. It's Thomas Mack gone off. As someday I'll get to finish my sentence. JM has got past Rage Hunter into the Varanti Alta. But if it makes Akeke feel any better, in 2006, UGE got his super license taken off him after crashing with Christian Albers. So, Akeke, at least he'll still be here next week.
Yes, that's always a way. You never see Okeke in an incident at the steward's office after races. It just doesn't happen. Usually he's a little bit more competitive than this, but we all have bad races. It's how you bounce back from them, and Okeke has done a lot of bouncing back in recent seasons. So yeah, he'll definitely be here next week. He won't have his license taken off him by the steward, so that's always a positive.
Yeah, it always is, as J-Luke is on the attack behind Larkin, or he's within a second behind Larkin. J-Luke was the only man to pick up a penalty last week in Interlagos. It was a 5-second time penalty for an incident when Cam came on. He picked up a 5-second penalty and half a licence point, did the AlphaTauri. So unfortunate there. Can't really remember what the incident was, but I believe it was through the Descida del Lago. One of your typical Verstappen-Hamilton-esque incidents, I can imagine. Pushed wide and off into the runoff, but he's pressing at Larkin, and really qualifying has been turned on its head, because the quicker drivers in qualifying are nowhere in this race. I know Nick was up there, but Nick's doing a great job. The Red Bulls, not so much.
No, not so much for them today, which is really surprising considering that they are pretty much up there in the championship standings, and they're only P8 and P12 today, which isn't very many points at all. But things can always change at any given moment, and Schnicksel is into the pits. Can he do it safely?
Schnicksel
seems
he's pulled a bit of a gamble here. It's the hard tyres for 12 laps till the end. That's a bit of a risky call by Schnicksel. He's going to drop behind his teammate. He's going to drop behind Larkin J-Luke. Is he going to drop behind Colin O'Mason? Colin O'Mason might find himself in the points here. Well, he's in the points already, but he might find himself further into the points here. But he will have to pit soon, will Colin? No, softs are not going to make the end, unfortunately, as much as Colin would like, as much as we would like to see them get to the end for Colin as well. They're not going to, as the gap now between JM and Lukey is under a second. And could JM pull off the impossible? Could JM still win this one? He is really quick.
I mean, he still could win the win, but of course the top 6 still have to pit again for their second mandatory stop, as does J-Luke, Colin Schnicksel, Cam in P11, Thomas in P13. Other Cam in P14 has stopped twice, and everyone else behind him has stopped as well. So those drivers mentioned still have to do the second mandatory, which is what Nick is doing now. As
speaking of Cam Rolls, he ran wide through the Tamburello, lost a bit of time as Nick is into the pits for a set of the mediums. That's where it was better to go on the hards in the middle stint, because Nick is now on the mediums towards the end of the race, and he's got to be really quick. But here is the gamble. Just look at this. It looked like Schnicksel got stuck behind Cam, or Cam is pressuring right on the back of Schnicksel, because Nick's going to come out way ahead anyways. He was way ahead as it was, but Schnicksel is really under pressure from Cam, who's under pressure from J. Cole. So it's a three-way scrap here. It is Ferrari Power versus Ferrari Power, Factory versus Alfa Romeo. It's going to be an easy move for Cam in the end. Flies past the Alfa Romeo, does the Ferrari, and Ferrari on one of their 2 home Grand Prix. Up to 10th, back into the top 10. Cam will want a lot more than that. Cam, we describe the Kimi Räikkönen of the league, with some very short interview answers. JM is right on the back of Lukey here, and JM could possibly take provisionally second. It would change because he does have to make another pit stop in this one, but the championship leader is doing a lot better than J. Cole was since that incident on lap number 9.
Yes, he certainly is. I'm just looking through the Yoda, and Lasser in P1 is now in for his second mandatory stop, and I was going to say,
so is JM.
At this moment, Nick is in for net P2 with all those ahead of him needing to pit, apart from Larkin, who is net leader. But where he comes out, is he going to jump some of these that are in the pits now, or not?
Here comes Lass. Here comes Lass, and Lass is not doing too bad. It's a long trundle down the pit lane as there is Lass Lordson on the outside, there is Nick on the inside, and Nick has it done, but the gap is closed, and both on even tyres here. It might change as they head round. Chris is off through the Acqua Minerale there. He's not crashed, he's not DNF'd, he's just had it off, which is very easy to do. Schnicksel is pressuring J. Cole here as well, as in terms of mandatory stops, as Matthew has been saying. Almost all have served now, apart from Lukey, Rage Hunter, Fatality, J. Luke, Cam, Thomas Mack, and I was going to say Colin O'Mason, but he's just made his stop there. He's just come into the pits, but J. Cole pressuring Cam now as Schnicksel not doing too well now since he's made his pit stop. Nick is in provisional P2, but he's coming into the DRS of Larkin. Is this going to be the fight between Red Bull and Mercedes to the end?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that potential battle, which it looks like it's going to be heated up to do exactly that. But of course, you have the two leaders of the overall championship who are, as you mentioned, struggling a little bit today. One of those was put into the media this week, into the rivalries. JM was asked if he keeps on finishing while those around to have DNFs to their names, would he say he's favourite for the title? And he said no, because the simple reason is that the others are better prepared than he is, and he has no ambition for a title this season.
Left overcut you here with side by side into the walls to Varanti Villeneuve. It's Nick to the provisional lead of the race, and Larkin has been left stumped. Beautiful move by ERT Nick. He just had the grip on the inside into the Varanti Villeneuve, and speaking of the corner, Lars Lordson, where he had the spin in qualifying, he's made a massive error here and has dropped off the potential podium. The Haasman's mistakes have cost him. He's round at Toza. His mistakes have cost him all season. Apart from Brazil, where he did not make a mistake, he won the race. It's another mistake, and it's going to possibly cost him top 5, top 10 even, maybe. We'll have to wait and see how the cookie crumbles. But Nick is into the provisional lead of the race here. Lukey, Rage Hunter and Fatality all still have to make pit stops, as we see Lukey in now. Rage Hunter stays out. Fatality, what's he going to do? It's a yellow flag in sector number 2. It is Lars Lawson again. He's gone off through Piratella, and out over the top 10 goes the Haas. Oh no, that's not how he wanted this race to end up. Lukey has gone for the softs here. Could Lukey put up a late charge? Can those softs do this many laps, Matthew?
I would say just about. With the lighter fuel load, you can probably get 8 out of them, but you have to be very careful to do that. So it's going to be a bit of a gamble, but not gamble as some other strategies could have been. But I'm just like, I can't see any damage for Lawson, so I was wondering if that second spin was because he got rear damage, but no, I think he's just...
I think that second spin is the warm tyres, maybe.
Yeah, possibly, because I've done that a lot, and I know how that feels as well. But it's unfortunate that every time Lars Lawson looks like he's on for a good result, he makes a mistake like that, and he's down in P11, which is not great, but it could be worse.
Look at JM right in the back of Schnicksel here. The championship leader wants to catch back up as Chris is out of the race. That's in the pits. It's our first retirement of the ERT Imola Grand Prix. As it stands right now, J. Cole would outscore JM, as there's a few penalties that have been picked up. I believe it was Fatality, and I believe it was Rage Hunter who's picked up some there. It was Rage Hunter is into the pits now for a set of the softs, as J. Cole served as mandatory stop. So as it stands now, Red Bull are still on for a great result, but can Schnicksel possibly catch us? Here comes Schnicksel passing Cam. This is for 4th on the grid. Great move as here comes JM. He's going to try capitalise as well and past Cam. JM up into the top 5, the championship leader. He's looking to get past J Cole, who's only about 2 seconds up the road here, so it's not a D-Day yet for JM's championship lead. It's he still could fight this one. He still could get past J Cole because he's much better tyres here. What a great ending we're on course for here in the ERT Imola Grand Prix.
Yes, this race has absolutely flown by. It's been action-packed. Most of it is pretty good wheel-to-wheel stuff, but we still have a handful of laps left for this to change dramatically. Nick is in control of this race. Larkin is in P2, and he was asked in the media as well about would there be any team orders, and he said, I hope not for my sake, but yeah, anyway, it's going to be one of those days, I think, where every corner you could see someone go off, not because it's just that manner of track. You have to be 100% alert, like your eyes are on stalks at all times.
Speaking of someone gone off, J. Luke has gone off through the Aqua Minerale, and JM is pressuring Schnicksel to possibly catch up to J. Cole. Schnicksel's holding JM up massively. The gap between J. Cole and Schnicksel has increased hugely on that lap, but JM's going to soar past the Alfa Romeo now, and we could see J. Cole versus JM once more in the fantastic circuit that is Imola. We are almost at the end of the race here as Cam is into the pits for the soft compound of tyres. Cam will be easily make the end and will fight for the very, very lower stages of the points. Here comes J. Luke. Gets past Cam. 412th spot, the AlphaTauri on home turf. Round the outside, it's going to be P12 and P16 as it stands for AlphaTauri. As the fastest lap point is currently going to Nick. Fastest lap outside the top 10 is currently going to... it's going to J. Luke. So J. Luke will get the fastest lap point outside the top 10. Lukey is pressuring Schnicksel. Schnicksel's pace has just fallen off a cliff recently. He is not doing too good at all, but J. Cole is... he's holding the gap between himself and JM despite having the older tyres.
Yes, it's always good to hold a gap. Despite the tyre age, it should give you a bit more of an advantage. If you can just keep that gap, you don't have to fight as hard, and perhaps you can frustrate the guy behind trying to catch you on the fresher, better tyres.
There goes Lukey.
That doesn't always happen.
There goes Lukey past Schnicksel. P5 for Lukey. Decent recovery drive that one is. Started 9th, up to 5th. Couldn't ask for much more, could Lukey, but he still has to put a penalty gap to Schnicksel, Rage Hunter and Fatality side by side in towards turn number 1, but Rage Hunter has got that one done. It just seems to be the tyres that are better for Rage Hunter, although Fatality's pit recently as well. We have to wait and see. Have to wait and see for Larkin as well, because Larkin is on 20 lap old hard compound tyres. Thankfully, due to the task system, we can see what those are on, and they're only on 57%, so not bad going at all for Larkin. Could he make the end? It is really going to be Bambi on ice for Larkin towards the end, and possibly the same for his teammate who has 40% hard compound tyres. JM has caught a 10th of a second this lap. Let's see what he can do in the next one. He really needs to close into that DRS gap if he wants to make a move. And speaking of making moves, J. Luke's on course to make another one. Go to 11th here. He's on course to get past Thomas Mack. But I have to wait and see what he can do in the main straight, because no hope of doing it here into the Ferranti Alta.
No, but you can always set up a move for the few corners that follow the corner that you're currently on.
It's weird defensive line for Thomas Mack. Not quite sure what he was doing there. Yeah, J. Luke probably clever to back out of that one, as Rage Hunter sets the fastest lap of the race from 7th. No DRS or anything, but he does have that free air in front of him. Here comes J. Luke on a soar past him. I think Cam Rules might make it double trouble for Thomas Mack. Here comes J. Luke. As the camera now finally changes, it's going to be down the inside. Thomas Mack, aggressive defensive move to the outside. It looked like he was just avoiding the AlphaTauri, but... oh, he's been hit actually! Oh, Thomas Mack has actually been hit onto the gravel and out of the points. Goes the Alpine. It's another spot for Cam, but he was hit by the other Cam, I think. Either lost the car or was hit by the other Cam. Couldn't quite catch that one as we were on board with the Alpine, but so unfortunate for Thomas Mack to fall out of the points. He was leading this race at one point. He led the safety car restart, but the man has been leading all race technically since that incident between J. Cole and JM. As this man ERT Nick on course to take his second win of the season here in P2. He's looking very good to win around Imola.
He is looking very good, and just to clarify, yes, it looks as though other Cam did hit Thomas Mack there in that little incident you were talking about. Taz has reported a collision between the two drivers, Cam Rules and Thomas Mack, so whether the Thomas Mack will feel that he needs to send that to Stewart is up to him, but there's a yellow flag. Not sure who that's for in Sector 1, but
it is, yeah, I believe it's a KK.
Oh, okay, just getting out the way. Nice man. He's a very nice man. He's always just...
Yeah, it was a KK.
So sporty. He's impossible on fight. What a guy. And he does wonderful things for this one-up community as well. So always give him a shout out when I can. But yeah, race control, don't like... Oh, Thomas Mack with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
And that could be him done. I think he could be retiring or possibly going for a fastest lap. He'd take points off his teammate if it was the fastest lap. So an interesting call to go for the fastest lap. But I suppose it's not always team orders. Especially in Alpine, they're always scrapping each other. Cam and Cam about to have a battle here. This is really the only on-track battle, as JM is not doing anything to catch J. Cole, which is surprising.
Yeah, you would expect a little bit more pace out of those. He's 7. You've got 8 laps fresh rubber underneath you there, and he's just not using them to his full extent. Although I think he's just beginning to crank up the wick. Maybe he's just saving ERS because he doesn't have a lot. Maybe he's just trying to generate some more energy so he can go on the attack in the final stages of the race. There are 3 laps still to go. Nick is still out in front, and he is increasing his gap ever so slightly every lap. So he's looking very, very handy for another win this season. But of course, this track can buy hard. So hopefully, I haven't said too much.
Here comes Cam on Cam. It's going to be Cam around the outside of Cam. It's the Ferrari Cam around the outside of the McLaren Cam. Oh, almost making contact. McLaren Cam keeps it up the inside as the McLaren comes out on top of that one. I thought it was easily done for the Ferrari, but no, McLaren Cam with the bit between his teeth. Esports Wales Cam, and that is in 12th. That is for the final points paying position, so that's a right L personal scrap there. But for gap of the front, Nick is charging. He's going to start lap 31 of 32 here in Imola.
Yes, 31 of 32. That means there's 2 laps still to go, and it's cranking up to be a grandstand finish for not very many drivers. Actually, there's not a lot of battles on track, as you mentioned. Although Colin is gaining. No, he's not. Sorry, I was reading the wrong gap. Lassa is gaining on Fatality and probably getting under DRS conditions into turn 1.
Here we go then. It's going to be last round the outside of Fatality after what's been a horror show for the last couple of laps. He was fighting for a podium, but he made a lot of mistakes on 1 or 2 laps. He's fought back here, and the Danishman gets back up to 8th as mistake for Fatality. He's gone on to the gravel.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to do that, but it's not the first time we've seen that, and hopefully it is the last time we see that today. Yellow flag sector 1, there's a red car round. That looks...
Oh, someone's hit the wall. It's Fatality. He's hit the wall there again on the exit of Toza. So Colin Mason up to 9th. Fatality is left reversing, and it's going to be J. Luke up to 10th. That is really, really unfortunate. Well, it's not unfortunate, it's a mistake, but it's really unfortunate that he's fallen. He will still score spot points, and it was Cam who was off in Sector 1, as Nick has just started the final lap of the Grand Prix. He has put Waitsy a lap down, and I think Waitsy was going for a fastest lap attempt as well, which is just awful, because he's not going to get it now, because it's the final lap of the race, and lets everybody through, obeying blue flags. But 5.3 seconds, it's the largest winning margin this season, for sure. Nick has charged this one to beat the dominant Red Bulls.
Yes, you would hopefully be having his teammate a little closer to him, but 9th is still not a bad day's work for Colin Mason. He's had a bit of a recovery to make himself. Without that spin, who knows, he could have been fighting with perhaps Luke in Schnitzel for P5, maybe above that, but it's still P9 and still time to make up some positions. Yellow flag in sector 2. I don't think
it's Thomas Mack who's gone there, but Nick is rounding the Varanti Halta, and it's gone. Red Bull are going to end up 2 and 3. Red Bull revealed their brand new energy station here in 2005. It was written on every piece of paper ever after qualifying that Red Bull were going to possibly go on to win this race. They had the pace, they had the dominance, but what's written on paper usually isn't reality. And for the second time this season, Nick is going to win in One Hub Racing P2. He wins in Imola ahead of Larkin in second, J. Cole in third. His championship rival, who he made contact with, will come home in fourth. Lukey's going to get fifth from ninth on the grid. Great result for the Aston Martin. Schnicksel, is Schnicksel going to get fifth here? No, Schnicksel's going to come home sixth, 5/10 off that penalty gap. Rage Hunter is going to come home seventh ahead of Lass Lawson. Lass is going to get seventh on a penalty count. Colin or Mason, after that really unlucky spin on the safety car restart, Colin or Mason will come home in ninth, and J. Luke will come home in 10th for AlphaTauri on home turf. And as your top 10, it's going to be Cam Rules ahead of Fatality, 11th and 12th for the final 2 points paying positions. But a really quick race, only one safety car in the end, and that one, as other Cam, brings us home here in Imola. But it's Nick who takes on the second win of the season, the first double winner.
Yes, that's always a good omen for the rest of the season, that the wins have been spread out a little bit. But Nick, perhaps sensing something here, he's gone and pretty much dominated today. Very controlled drive, and that should make things very interesting at the top of the standings once everything is calculated and penalties are applied. It's certainly going to be a very tight championship the rest of the second half of the season, which we are now into.
It's a brilliant win for the Mercedes. He beats the 2 Red Bulls, and Nick takes another one. Second podium of the season for Nick, second podium of the season for Larkin, third podium of the season for J. Cole. Things are just starting to spice up that little bit here in the championship. That collision today was an interesting one between J. Cole and JM. I wonder will we get any reaction from the pair. Yes, it's always interesting to see what... Oh, we already have J. Cole's blaming JM, so... Oh, we're going to get an interesting fight here, ladies and gentlemen, but we're just going to run through the results quickly. It's Nick in P1 ahead of Larkin, J. Cole, JM, Lukey, Schnicksel, Lass Lawson, Rage Hunter, Colin or Mason, J. Luke, Cam Rules, Cam Kimon, Fatality, Waitsy, Thomas Mack, Akeke, and our only DNF for the race was Chris. Fastest lap went to Rage Hunter. Come the end of the race with a 1:17.271. Nick wins for the second time this season.
Yes, he certainly does. And I wonder who you're going to pick for your driver of the day. If it's anything like last week, I think I already know who you were going to pick. But yeah, I'll let you go first this week so I don't steal your pick for the third week in a row.
I haven't even considered it. Let me have a look here. Who will we go for? I normally go for the winner, so I'm going to go for someone a bit more unconventional. I'm going to go for Lukey for driver of the day. Considering he wasn't meant to be racing, I don't think it's a bad job. But Lukey, my question for you is, how did you manage to recover? Was it on strategy or was it on pure pace? And Matthew, I'll let you have your pick now.
Well, you've actually... for once, I am not going to let you go first anymore. That was my pick. But luckily I had a backup just in case. And I am going to select the first 2-time winner of the season, Nick, as the driver of the day for me. And the question I'm going to ask him is, did go into the hards very early in the safety car as you predicted you might need to do, did that play key to your victory today?
Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Matthew, any final thoughts on that one?
Well, it's been a fantastic race and a few unfortunate incidents, and I'm looking forward to seeing the provisional results become the actual results in a few days' time when all the penalties or no penalties are applied. And I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of this season, because this has been absolutely fantastic. And I think we're going to have some frustrations next week as we go to Hungary.
It is Hungary next week, folks. It's one you don't want to miss. My name's Maneva Dalton. I was joined alongside Matthew for the ERT Imola Grand Prix here in Italy. Make sure to tune in next week at 7:45 PST. You can tune in to P1 Tier now, which is live on our Twitch channel. Be sure to do that. And from me, stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next time.